Welcome to Wisdom for Your Day. Sit back and get ready for some knowledge from real people with life lessons you can apply to your journey today. We all know the familiar image of Fred Rogers, zipped into that cardigan, projecting a quiet, unshakable peace. We tend to view him as a figure of effortless kindness, someone born with an infinite supply of patience. But that calm wasn't a personality trait. It was a hard-won survival mechanism. Rogers spent his life mastering emotional intelligence because, as a child, it was the only tool he had to navigate a world that felt deeply unsafe. Severe asthma and a struggle with his weight kept him isolated from other children. He was often confined indoors, making him an easy target for local bullies. That childhood loneliness didn't just make him sad, it gave him an incredibly sharp, painful sensitivity to the suffering of those around him. He was a child of intense feelings, living in an era that told boys to keep them hidden. Being repeatedly told to just be a man or suppress his anger forced him to do the difficult internal work of learning to honor his emotions rather than burying them. Even as an adult, he struggled. He wrestled with a deep need for validation from his grandfather to feel worthy. And when he looked at the cold, technical world of early television, he didn't see a clear path. He had to fight to reconcile his training in music and theology with a medium that felt chaotic and commercial. He eventually realized he didn't have to choose one identity over the others. He integrated his struggles into a single driving philosophy: that feelings are mentionable and manageable. His deepest vulnerabilities became the engine for his life's work. Rogers took these private insights and transformed them into the foundation of social-emotional learning. He realized that for a child to grow, they first need the tools to navigate their own internal landscape. This started by validating every emotion, teaching children that being mad or sad is natural and safe to express. To give those feelings space, he utilized silence. In a medium defined by fast-paced noise and flashing lights, he used long, quiet moments to let children process their own thoughts. He paired this with an intense style of listening that made every individual feel like the center of the world. By refusing to play a character, he built a bridge of trust. He was exactly the same person off-camera as he was on screen, creating a space where honesty could actually take root. Finally, he focused on a capacity for wonder. He reframed the unknown, not as something to fear, but as an opportunity for curiosity and growth. By turning empathy into this structured practice, Rogers created a system for human connection that functioned far beyond the classroom. This same system applied to the way he led adults. He practiced servant leadership, where the primary objective was the growth and well-being of the people in his neighborhood. He led with total accessibility, showing his team that it takes more courage to be vulnerable than it does to be stoic. He created an environment of belonging where he didn't just give orders, he leveraged the unique, specific gifts of every person on his staff to build a sense of shared responsibility. Intrigued, his most sophisticated move was inverting power dynamics. If a child was ill or in need, he would ask them for help, perhaps asking them to pray for him. This simple act moved them from being a passive recipient of aid to being a capable, valued contributor. He avoided preaching to people. Instead, he asked them to recognize the people who had helped them become who they are. He empowered individuals by reminding them of the support networks they already possessed. This leadership style was defined by moral courage. He didn't rely on aggression or force. He led through virtue, patience, and absolute conviction in his principles. This was most evident in 1969, when he sat before a skeptical U.S. Senate chamber. While others used data or pressure, Rogers used sincerity. In 6 minutes of quiet testimony, he moved the chairman to tears and secured millions in funding for public television. He proved that the most effective way to influence rigid, powerful systems is not through force, but by yielding power and focusing entirely on the needs of others. In the early days of television, the commercial formula was loud, fast, and built to sell toys to children. Rogers reached the pinnacle of his field by rejecting every single one of those industry standards. He maintained an uncompromising intentionality. He viewed technology as a tool for service, and he famously walked away from massive profits to protect the integrity of his brand and the children he served. He grounded his work in local service, returning to his hometown to help found WQED. By choosing the community station in Pittsburgh over the major industry hubs, he ensured his work stayed connected to real people. His success was built on decades of consistency. He ignored fleeting trends and maintained a constant reflective practice, never believing he had learned enough or was above the audience he sought to help. He proved that a steady, honest approach, designed to solve a specific human need, is more sustainable than any short-term innovation. Fred Rogers didn't just make a television show. He transformed his own childhood pain into a professional architecture that prioritizes human connection over commercial gain. His career demonstrates that empathy is not a soft alternative to leadership. It is a rigorous, highly effective strategy for navigating conflict and building lasting influence. By applying these lessons to your own journey, you can become the person who empowers others to find their own worth. You have the opportunity to take these principles and be the change you want to see in your own neighborhood. This has been Wisdom for Your Day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. For more, visit us on YouTube by the same name.